Hello, everyone. So I wanted to get on. It's been a while since I have been on, and I really wanted to talk about something that's super close to my heart. So I recently, well, not really recently, about a year ago, I started using essential oils. We use Young Living essential oils, and they have been amazing for us. So I really wanted to talk about those, how they affected our life, but really what I wanted to do first and foremost was address something that is weighs on my heart heavily because I really just feel it's really important to do. So, part of making an essential oil, which are made from plants, roots, trees, it's distillation. So, you make your oils, your essential oils, through a process of distillation or resin tapping or extraction. Those are the main methods that you use to make your essential oil. This is frankincense. That's what I was smelling. It's so good. It's so grounding. It smells so earthy. It smells so good. So there are a few different ways to distill and extract, and there are some super common ones. There are not so common ones. There is a variety. So the most popular way to distill is through steam distillation. So steam distillation is super important. It's super crucial in how it works because it's also the most popular. So the most popular is steam distillation. It's been around for 5,000 years. It's been around a really long time, and that is why it is the most popular and most effective way to use it. It's super old. It's developed in the 5th century AD, so it has been around a really long time. So with steam distillation, you have a tank essentially, and they'll load oil, like the plants in there. Like we use lavender as an example for that. So lavender, they harvest these plants, they put them in this big container, shut the lid, and there's a basin of water, fresh water. Through Young Living, it's like the freshest water you can possibly get. There's nothing in it, it's just water. They heat that water up till it turns to steam. So the steam then rises, as steam does, and it goes through the plants, so in this case lavender, and inside the plant there's these little sacs that are filled with all the good stuff. So they're packed with essential oils, and when the steam comes through, it heats them up and it bursts it. So when that bursts, it then converts the essential oil into a steam as well. So they both rise, they come down into another chamber. In this chamber, there's cold water. So cold, clean water, when the steam hits this cold, clean water, it all turns back to water, because that's what happens when steam cools down. It turns back into a liquid. So you get, when the steam with the oil comes down, you get the separation. So on the bottom, because as we know, even with water and like olive oil, they don't mix. They're not compatible. So when the steam rises with the oil, it comes down into the cooling chamber, and you'll get a natural settling of oil and water. So then they're able to extract this oil off the top, and then you have your pure oil. Some other companies do a few times, and so they try and expand out as much as they possibly can, but then it dilutes down the oil. Young Living doesn't do that. They do it one time, and that is the oil they use. It's super pure and super concentrated. So then there's also expression, which is also known as cold pressing. This is common in your citruses. One of the popular ones that I think of is lemon, right? So you have lemon oils, and you have orange oils, you have lime oils, and you're not going to put that into a steam bucket. That really doesn't make much sense for that. So what they do is they squeeze the oil out of it, and they compress it down, and that's how they end up with oil, is they squeeze the citrus. It's very common, grapefruits, tangerine, It's a very common way that they make this type of oil, and that has been super effective. It's amazing. It smells like when you open a bottle of a citrus oil that's been cold compressed. It doesn't smell like acid. It doesn't have that acidity. It smells like the peels, to that really strong peel that you get that scent. That's what it will smell like. So then there's also extraction methods. There's some not popular. It's old. It's pretty distant. It's unflourished. That's just not really used. It's really rare. Then there's solvents, which uses things such as methanol, ethanol, petroleum, and they use this to extract the plant material. So typically one that gets used in that such sense is jasmine. Jasmine is one that's really popular. It's Young Living's only absolute. It's not an actual essential oil. It's an absolute because it's so fragile that if you try and steam distill it, it won't work. The plant will just break apart. So because the plant is so fragile and delicate, you have to do it in that essence. So therefore it makes it an absolute, not an essential oil. There is a difference there. So that they only use that for jet. It's the only one. I looked through their whole site at every single oil, and it was the only one listed as an absolute. So then there's also a more popular version of extraction. It's not distillation. I'm not sure why it's labeled that, but it's another form of extraction. This is a CO2 extraction or carbon dioxide extraction. It's a newer type of extraction. They put CO2 under pressure because then it forms from a gas, it brings it to a liquid. So they're able to put it at the bottom of that chamber, much like the steam distillation, steam it through the plants back into a gas, collects it, and they do the same thing. It brings it down, it cools it. So they use the CO2 as an extraction, and it makes the oils, it has most of the same compounds when you do it this way as steam distillation. Emphasize on the most. It doesn't have all because it's a gas, right? Because water, it's pure. When you use pure water, it's just water. It's not going to change anything. It's just water. Plants use water. It's just how it is. But when you put condensed an immense amount of carbon dioxide and push that through a plant, it can change the molecular structure of the actual oil. So this is all coming from the National Association for Holistic Aromatherapy, so NAHA.org. You can look up the information as well. I always encourage everyone to do their research, but a potential downfall, which for me personally, this is a huge downfall, but a potential downfall is pesticide residue. So in the industry of essential oils, it is super, super crucial to note the FDA does not regulate any of these oils. So it is super important to know where your oils come from. So if you don't know where your oils are being sourced, if you can't visit their farms, if you can't lay hands on their product, it makes it kind of weary. And you want to know where it comes from and how they're doing their processes and what plants they're using, if they use any solvents, if they're diluting their oils, because that's all important, because since it's not regulated, they're able to do all of these things. So with CO2 extraction, when they use the CO2, it not only can change the molecular structure of the actual oil, but when they are sourcing from plants that have that have used pesticides and that have been taken care of in a non-organic way, and even then I use organic loosely, there has been evidence that there is 7 to 53 times more pesticide residue within a bottle of oil. So if you take your oil, say it's lavender, and you use CO2 extraction on it, well then if those lavender plants were treated with pesticides, you can end up with pesticides you'll likely end up with pesticides within your bottle, and then you'll be rubbing them all over your body. So that does not sound fun, safe, or any of the above, especially if you're looking for essential oils. You're likely wanting to get away from pesticides and toxins, and that will do the exact opposite of what you're trying to do when you're looking for a more natural and holistic approach. Now, Young Living doesn't use pesticides. They hand weed all their plants, and the only thing they'll put on their plants is essential oils. So there's nothing unnatural going onto their plants. They have the seed to seal, which is also they have a full website about it that you can look at and research. And it's that they monitor the plant from the time it's a seed to the time it's in your, from it's growing, and then it's bottled, distilled and bottled. They test it to make sure it's the perfect oil before it ends up in your home. And that is super important for many, because then you know that you're getting the highest quality product that there is. So that is the gist of distillation, and I just thought it was super important because I know so many that have said, oh, well, it can't be that bad. Well, just because it's not that bad and the FDA says, oh, it's okay, or, someone says it's okay, well, it's not really a super regulated industry, so it's important to know. Another thing is that organic, like I touched on, just because it says organic, you only have to be certified organic for the first 3 years, and then you're certified for life. So then you can kind of do whatever you want. So there's not really a good control on that word either. Same thing with 100% natural. You want to look for 100% therapeutic grade, and you can go and look at any other farms. Make sure you know where your plants and stuff are coming from, because you don't want to be putting oils and spending money on oils and it not be what you expect it to be. A lot of the oils that you can find are filled with solvents, they're filled with chemicals, they're super diluted, and that's another reason why you'll look at the price difference. I've been told many times how, oh, well, I can go get frankincense for $20. Why would I spend, X amount of money on it when I can get it for $20, like $90 or $20? Well, I'll tell you why I would spend $90, because I want real frankincense. I don't want diluted frankincense. That's 5% frankincense and 95% alcohol, or it's diluted down. It's so diluted it loses its therapeutic qualities. And for that reason, it's just super important. If you are looking for that support in your life, it's important to know where it's coming from, because you don't want to be diffusing synthetics into the air and breathing those chemicals in. You don't want to be putting that on your body. And just really do your research on not only the oil that you're going to be using, but also where they come from, where the oils come from beyond that plant. I encourage you to call companies and see what they tell you. I encourage you to look online for non-biased articles on all the things that I'm telling you, because I'm a very big science nerd. I like science a lot. I look at peer-reviewed scholarly articles for everything I do. I'm very, very persistent that I trust Young Living. They're a beautiful company and I love what they stand for, and everything I have found has backed what they have told me and said, and that is super important to me. So because I've now built that level of trust with them, it's a lot easier to take their word for it. At first it wasn't, though. I needed to go and look and see for myself the science behind things they were saying, because I wasn't going to take it for a grain of salt. I'm not that kind of person. I'm not delusional. I'm not going to be the person that goes, oh, they said that it works, so it's going to work. Or they said it's real oil. Well, that's okay, then I'll put it on my kids. I'm not going to do that. So I really just encourage anyone who's really looking into oils to really research into it. And if you need help looking into oils, reach out to me. My website, it should be linked in my page. If not, it's destinybydesignllc.com. There's a contact button. Get in contact with me. I will help guide you through and how to research all these things, because it is important to know where it comes from. I love Young Live. They are the heart, bread, and butter of my house. We have changed so much of our lifestyle because of them. My whole family, my kids, my husband, they really have made a significant impact. But I will never tell someone to go blind into anything that they don't trust and they don't really feel secure in. It's important to feel secure in what you're doing and trust the company that you're going to be with, because if you don't trust them, then there's never going to be that super passion that you should be feeling when you have these in your home, because they're just really amazing and they can transform your entire life. And it's really worth doing the research and everything behind all of it. And like I said, I'm a super sciencey person, so I look into everything before I commit to anything. Even still, if I'm looking for a supplement that they have and I'm like, well, which is going to benefit me? Well, I'm going to dig into science to figure out what benefits me most, not just go for the word, what it says. It's just how I am. That's how my brain works, and I love it, because then I get to educate everybody else on it, and that's exciting to me. So I really just wanted to touch on that. I didn't even introduce myself much. There's some other videos on my site too that you can take a look at. You can subscribe. That'd be awesome. And I'll be releasing more and more videos as time goes on, because I just really passionate about this company, about what they stand for, but also I'm even more passionate about educating the gap, because there's such a gap and essential oils are becoming so big so fast. There's such a lack of knowledge it doesn't always come over. So I really, really, really personally wanted to take a step and help to fill in that gap with more than just biased opinion, because I'm not about biased opinion. Like I said, I really research everything I do, and I take that very seriously, and I would never want someone to just go with a grain of salt, like, oh, okay, well, this sounds good. Well, you should really trust where you're getting your stuff from. You should trust the person that you're speaking to and talking to about it. So I really just encourage you to go forth and do your research. If you need help, contact me. If you want to know more, contact me. I'm an open book. I will tell you any of my experiences, and I will tell you all about it. It's something I'm passionate about. I want to fill that gap. I want to educate. I want to increase everyone's knowledge on the use of something that is so incredibly life-changing and important in our lives, but I know it can change others' lives as well. I hope you guys are having an awesome day, night, whenever you feel like watching this. I don't know. So I hope you guys are having an awesome one, and I look forward to talking to you. Bye!